peaceful warrior. Energy, healing, empowerment. Energy, empathy, telepathy, deja vu, lucid, prophetic dream, astral sphere, crystal, key, light, and sound, dream tunnels, insight, and more. Start over, observe the prestige, and vanquish nothing. How often have we had such thoughts as I wish I could start over, vanquish the mistakes, improve on presence, and even just possibly think things through greater. Us of the earth, Zen, over time begin to break the negative links and observe as we are. If only without corruption of direction we become our own influencers of the prestige observance. Our spirit animal in a new light, we transform, they transform. The landscapes of our relationships, our recognition of life, the guidance we seek, oftentimes we can thank our spirit animal. Our understanding of our ever-present spirit animal connection through inspiration and strength is the real empowering link that goes with the spirit territory. I know that I am intelligent because I know that I know nothing. Socrates, demons, angels, spirit guides, and the psychic voice. It is no secret that history has buried many a psychic experience. The animosity and bias towards psychic happenings going way back is and has been widely accepted by society and human nature, therefore it has been easier to rewrite history than deal with events plagued with mystery and ambiguity. Christianity and paganism through history are prime examples of this dabbling with truth by mainly hierarchical male figures. Church-run states with accepted concerns of losing control took it upon themselves to feed the public what was in their very best religious interests. Lucidville. More inside. Distance life force healing for everyone. Improve, correct, perfect our overall well-being and potential. This divine existence of spirituality we all have is chi, life force, universal. This is healing power that is limitless. In vibration we rise, we boost our positivity, we life our strength, we gain peace, we live complete. From the energy of emotions to the energy of our conversations and even purely the energy of our inward and outward focus, we enter the electro fields of our own or of others. This healing energy never withers, is in constant change, and forever moves. Constant change and movement of energy can and does throw us off balance. This is where the importance of quiet focus and an ever-searching of the mindfulness is paramount for our power souls. The enchanted experience, esoteric or mainstream. The expression enchanted understanding has turned out to be synonymous with the expressions religious experience, otherworldly experience, and sacrosanct experience. A religious encounter is an emotional encounter which is deciphered inside a mental parameter of the unseen. The idea started in the 19th century, as a barrier against the developing logic of Western society. Following the underlying beginnings of the idea of esoteric happenings contending that religion depends on a sentiment of the endless. The idea of religious experience was implemented to guard religion against the becoming logical and mainstream. A wide scope of developments from the four corners of the world have fused and affected the rise of the advanced idea of mysterious experience, for example, the perennial theory, transparency of spirituality, believers of one and the same universe, the religious New Thought, Neo-Vedanta, and the Eastern believer. Indigenous afterlife, under the Milky Way. A portion of the Australian indigenous people, the Yolngu, hold steadfastly true of the afterlife involving a canoe of the mystical. This mystical canoe takes them into the sky where their wondrous island of the spirit world awaits. The Milky Way has a great river along its edge where campfires glow throughout the sky leading their way home. Shooting stars are the signs in the sky letting their loved ones know that they have indeed arrived into their spirit world safe and sound. Astral or energy travel, leaving the body and more soul extremities. Astral travel, OBEs, NDEs, the spontaneous travelers, the lucid dream travelers and the dream walkers, etc. To occupy in the same and one, the astral body, freedom of the astral world, yet occupying the same and one physical body we call our own. We transfer our consciousness from our physical body to our astral body through these waking hours, yet our mental consciousness primarily coexists with the physical state. A conscious or unconscious act of leaving the physical, moving about freely, through time, space, afterlife, other worlds, past life and the landscape of the fantastical we call the astral sphere. The OB or OBEs, the out-of-body experience. These OBEs, out-of-body experiences and astral projection, or travel, are one and the same. Whatever terminology we choose, astral projection, astral travel or out-of-body experiences are all the act of our astral bodies leaving the physical. Whether New Age, New Thought, or even the alchemists and magicians of our past, present and future, projection of the astral body is really what all of this comes down to. The NDE- the near-death experience, brought about by our both bodies, astral and physical, being tricked or confused as to momentarily believing one is in passing, as our astral bodies have and always hold the energy, power and destiny to ultimately outlive our physical counterparts and move on prematurely, causing this well-known phenomenon of the NDE, near-death experience. Not to be confused with the notion that NDEs are part and parcel with OBEs, as one does not rely on the other to occur, both being their own independent phenomena. Although it has been thought that NDEs subsequently have the ability to free up the astral body, hence making conscious astral projection easier to achieve at will. Spontaneous astral travel or OBEs. Usually while going through the motions of falling asleep, trying to fall asleep, upon waking or even while meditating. As we all have our own different outlooks and experiences, all our perceptions vary from person to person through our own objective time and space. Also being, the likelihood or chances of spontaneous astral projection are much more prevalent after and due to the ongoing practice of astral projection. Astral traveling into the lucid. As we become more adept and more fluid with the lucid dreaming, we become more efficient in the astral world we call home. We are aware of our lucidity while we dream, and henceforth we jump the usual gaps and difficulties we face in initiating travel. Ultimately from out of the lucid we sidestep, so to speak, into the astral world. Through the lucid and astral we dream walk into other dreamers' worlds as we move through our own dream worlds and onto many others. Voluntarily or involuntarily, dream walking is yet another wondrous phenomenon we all experience on the vast spectrum of this energy travel we call the astral. Awaken my Zen, real Zen life. We all deep down expect something grand in the way of enlightenment, and rightly so. For Zen is the path to enlightenment, and yes, enlightenment is the universal outcome of Zen. Firstly, we should comprehend the real concept of enlightenment. Enlightenment is real perception, the here and now. No bells and whistles we are conditioned for by varying expectations we adapt from modern media. By bells and whistles though, we are in a unique position that grants us far more than we just may have imagined possible in our entire lifetimes. Clarity. Experiencing this universe for how it really is. No need for hope. No room for fear. Enlightenment is not about possessions or dialogue. It is free from love or hate. Absent from idealism. Separate from comparisons. Elsewhere from time. Zen enlightenment is akin to polishing the looking glass. A looking glass that has become so grimy and almost impossible to see out of. Clearing our view, cleaning the glass bit by bit. We chip away at what obstructs our clarity and vision. The more we practice Zen, the more we see. Ultimately, our incentive is limitless. All this happens in stages. Even when unexpected, we experience another jolt of clarity we didn't expect. Enlightenment happens without expectation, without pursuit. The foundation of genius, or the collective unconscious? Whether the channels are premonition, intuition, IQ, inspiration, hard work, luck, true genius belongs to a subconscious pool. The foundation of genius can become the most powerful tool for those that are aware. A gigantic pool of thought, memories, experiences throughout the human race, whether good or bad, are the products of collective wisdom. Premonitions of events or feelings, even a lucky stab at guessing something, are all exciting when they happen, but tapping into this collective pool on cue is something of a spiritual utopia. The wisdom already exists where we seek. This can be aligned to a round table that exists in our personal consciousness. We throw questions out there to the qualified inhabitants on this table, and listen for wisdom. The table inhabitants can be anyone in history, present or even completely imaginary, as even imaginary ones housed in our consciousness long enough becomes real, to a point, to us. Belief that an answer to anything exists with the right wisdom brings us halfway to our utopia. Tapping into our own intelligence is the byproduct. Belief of the right answers on a future timeline becomes something else, nirvana. We really need to just accept the reality that all answers already exist, and we need the right personal systems or roundtable characters to let us know. Transmigration or reincarnation. Past or future incarnations. Predestined purpose in life, speaking a strange language, unexplained talents, memories otherwise impossible, are some of our reincarnating evidence we have in these lives or other lives. Why does our possible past life recall fade through life? Is it only us humans that transmigrate, or does every living creature live a never-ending story? Pablo Picasso, Blaise Pascal, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart are just a few names that are synonymous with child prodigy. How did such humans in such early life develop such maturity in their field so quickly? Freak evolution, divine intervention, previous life consciousness spillover, or past life abilities passed along? Or transmigration of the spirit? An explanation for this improbable knowledge is telepathy. However, telepathy wouldn't show such bias and isolated shared experiences of knowledge or higher callings. Telepathy is far more in the here and now. Reincarnation recall, however, is far more highly accepted as the clearly remembered experiences or mysteriously acquired knowledge as far more personal, spiritual, and actually lived firsthand by the recipient. Alternative explanations are that telepathy becomes the device for the recipient to take on this knowledge or experiences at a precise time of passing from the sender spirit. In any form, a question remains that why is it mainly children who are the recipients of these telepathic gifts? In either theory or reality, whether it is purely reincarnation or telepathy or both, as a device, they are still ultimately separated by the outcomes. Transmigration or reincarnation, memories and past life awarenesses fade as most of life gets in the way through our current lives. Encouragement or discouragement of awareness can play a hinging part by those around us. Knowledge, information can feasibly be sent telepathically by the living or deceased, via energy/frequency. However, shining talents and or abilities of speaking and understanding other languages, composing a symphony at age of 8 is clearly beyond fluke or telepathy. Possession and manipulation by a spirit, good or bad, is always a remote possibility, but we must ask ourselves, to what end? imprinting memories and personal nature as creatures do is still in the equation of all the possible explanations of the special knowledge and abilities, but the usual reincarnation testimonies are that of actually living this other life. Consciousness survival and the concept of time not existing outside of the paradigm of human or animal flesh brings assurance of life after death, and disparity of continued existence has to be fathomed in a whole new way. Whether depending on our earthly issues, such as guilt, anger, grievances, even non-acceptance, the non-time factor still exists, and whether we choose or whether we are chosen for a different body and time is completely irrelevant to the scheme. In any case, psychologists and psychiatrists helping patients with controlled regression, moments of passing over in other lives, hear countless testimonies of similarities. These similarities being the similar experiences experienced as those who have experienced OBEs, out-of-body experiences. Ultimately, this consistent collaboration of evidence from far and wide does bring together a consensus, and hopefully this consensus builds upon a multitude of further questions and comfort for many. Lost in transition? Spirits to ghosts and the endless sightings we still question. Consensus of probability and sightings cover all cultures and ages worldwide. The independence of these cultures prove the existence somewhat. Sightings and corroboration of the numerous only illustrate the sincerity of existence even more so again. Apparitions of familiar loved ones moments before, during, after passing, with no common knowledge of impending danger or bad health, this is trauma apparition. Significant distance is quite common. Distance and time is of the irrelevant. Nonetheless, this distance becomes the more so collaborative in the real probabilities of the existence of apparitions. The shadows of our remnant energies, apparitions, that outlive the physical and manifests as the image echo, apparently left behind, but sometimes can be witnessed concurrently, as a bilocation occurrence. Whether it's this energy of will or character of spirit that can shine these happenings brighter so, is an independent equation, for the existence is the distinction. The level of the clarity informed depends on the recipients of the apparition's receptiveness and or the energy of the apparition itself, or both. Be that as it may, this energy survives. Taking apparitions even further is the chilling exhibits that are shared or witnessed, such as occurrences of touch, sound, smell of these shadow beings left behind. These human sense factors of presence tell us that there is far more than mere apparitions, leftover energies. Conditions varying, the spectrum of strength and clarity may swing one moment to the next. Dreams, delusions, hallucinations, hoaxes or wishful glimpses of the fantastical throughout time for many cannot be taken out of the equation, but when more than one has experienced or witnessed the same apparition, visitation completely independently, then multiple truths arise. All activity of the paranormal or supernatural can be simplified and assumptions worked in and about the same way. Plausibility that spirits are ghosts and ghosts are spirits of humans past is the question. Consistency just may be the only evidence we get, considering the many more possible dimensions there are, over and beyond our well-accepted 3 dimensions plus time. Some ghosts just may find themselves lost in transition. Meditational, observational is the Zen we become. We shape our inner selves and see more clearly the more we see things how they are, ideally point zero. This creates a change in the way we approach others and the realities we create. Truth in all areas start to arise. We accept, we become this. All of the new understanding becomes highly personal and highly social. Insight of how everything is the Zen and how we are. Take away our everyday circumstances that dominate our clarity, our futures, our tomorrows, our next 5 minutes. Our pasts, presents and futures more often than not include others. We constantly compare ourselves with others, from past, present being to our futures. Take away the wasteful comparison playing and we are left to objectify and generate for a higher purpose. We stop time, live in the now, and we stop reliving past disappointments, past grievances, past misjudgments. These negative emotions only grow in the wrong conduits. The mathematics we use in every moment in the equations we sum, all take a back seat. The opposites which polarize the more we dwell shrink to point zero. Our magical point where good and bad doesn't monopolize our existence. These good, bad elements that grow with every further experience, the maths that navigate our every thought needs a break. Our point zero is our unexpected destination where real freedom of existence is the starting point, the future's point and our midway point of zero. How often have we had such thoughts as I wish I could start over, vanish the mistakes, improve on performances, think things through better. Practitioners of Zen meditation over time learn to break the negative links and observe as we are. Without corruption of direction we become masters of conducive observation. All this isn't religion as such, but rightfully nurturing Zen into our lives, our own persistence and willingness to dream, touch and see. Any such belief system is a wide open door to Zen. Our minds naturally wander, we enter into our midway point of zero, our truest of self. Perfection in our lives doesn't need less or more. Real perfection doesn't need accumulation of objects, doesn't need getting rid of objects. Happiness is the midway point of moments in no time. These are the only moments we are truly rich. We soak in the naked, rich self that discovers our enlightened point. In dreams and visions, how we interpret the cryptic spiritual and psychic view, unveil the dream. We all have the odd weird spiritual dream that we just pass off as glitch or throw back data to our unresolved footprints, or do we? Many of us believe that if we are meant to have a psychic or spiritual dream or vision, then we would just have them as clear as day, like a television or radio frequency we turn on or off. Why the cryptic symbolism? Why the vague pieces we try to hold together after we awaken? Most of us dream. Mostly in our dreams we are amongst the familiar people we know or have known or will know. Usually some sort of direction or angle we try to pass off as jumble, leftover mind data we haven't dealt with yet. The abnormal life of dreams we accept as the normally abnormal. Enter the psychic or spiritual dream, the sky or the color at the walls take on the surreal. There is an obstacle we must overcome, in ourselves or in front of our dream avatar. These architectures and characters of the dream world are not the usual, but designed somewhat by someone or something external. Somehow we know this isn't normal. We know this because things are different, things are more. We sense progression, importance or depth of further weak limbs. We find our own discernment in clarity as we uncover the wonders of being and somehow separate the natural dream from the spiritual dream, as this is where it begins. We all want meaning in our lives, whether a glimpse of completion of an impossible task or an ominous warning of one's health, the natural innocence of a bear cub or a puppy dog smiling at us while wrapped around our ankle to tell us we need better blood circulation, or is it an approaching visit from an old friend, or are we about to be betrayed by a work colleague? We are all psychic. Through dreams we all experience the limitless. Whether we are dreaming from the astral or dreaming from the subconscious, we all enter into the dimension of timeless. Either reality, we are all connected, and through our dreaming, we escape our confines and touch the frequency of psychic. The more we forget time and space, the more we can let go of the everyday earthly, and step into the psychic. We can experience other people's emotions in dreams, yet feel that these emotions are our own, hence the empathic dreamer and on. Dream lofty dreams, and as you dream, so you shall become. Your vision is the promise of what you shall one day be. Your ideal is the prophecy of what you shall at last unveil. James Lane Allen. This is our spiritual journey. One rotation at a time. Fear of success in spiritualism is real. Fear is on the same side of the coin as fear and anxiety we readily accept into our lives through society. We come back little by little, and this creates a displacement effect of spiritually on the right path of balancing ourselves with more of the positive. All truly beautiful outcomes take a little practice, and this practice can grow upon itself many times over. Today is the first day of the rest of our spiritual lives, 1 minute at a time. For most of us who battle with finding time, let's start with 60 seconds. All great things begin somewhere. Before going to sleep, after waking from sleep, or even the 1 minute walk back to the car with the shopping. Everything begins with something. Let's receive what we naturally and spiritually deserve in our lives. Let's give to others what we can powerfully give spiritually, something that just isn't accessible from our limited molded societies. Spiritualize the minute, 1 rotation at a time. Psychic, spiritual mysticism reversed. Occultism, religion, rituals and dark indoctrinations is what usually come to mind of middle society when the word psychic or mysticism is mentioned. Two different sides of the coin are science and mysticism. Thanks to Trinity religion throughout history, the term psychic has been strongly linked to occult, and the term occult has clearly been linked with darkness or Satanism. Concealed or hidden is really what the word occult refers to, uncovering what is not up front, what is hidden from normal view, what is tucked away from our normal everyday perception. Embracing the spiritual, uncovering what others do not know, seeing what is usually not seen, moving beyond the physical and into the realm of spiritual mysticism, or also known as the spiritual metaphysical. Mysticism comes with an enormous spectrum. This spectrum beginning with the basics of dreaming, lucid, prophetic dreaming, sensing other people's feelings without words or expressions, receiving, sending thoughts, images, working with quantum energies we are all part of, or even purely just mystic wisdom, knowledge, or an ongoing mystic curiosity of the cosmos. Hypnagogia, daydreaming, micro-sleep, am I waking reverie? Half asleep or half awake? Short, micro, moments of shut-eye onset, this phenomena that has the propensity of taking over our wakefulness as we naturally drift in and out of sleep. Daytime parahypnagogia. Usually due to a lack of sleep, repetition, meditation, interruptive diets or, intended, unintended, self-hypnosis, autosuggestion. Daytime parahypnagogia, our normal waking consciousness being intruded upon by usually a flash image or momentary thoughts of the bizarre. We may not remember the content of this experience, but nonetheless we remember the strangeness of the episode momentarily intruding upon our waking consciousness. The Tetris effect. Usually the echo of repetition of new activity we find hard to shake from the mind. We go through the normal stages of lowering into sleep. We become drowsy. We go through the moving sensations, hence the term Tetris effect. Activities such as beach walking, cycling, water skiing, body surfing, computer game play, stomping grapes, all these activities and more add to our recurrence of the Tetris effect. These are all part and parcel with the hypnagogic hallucination effect. Our transitions between our waking state and our sleeping state. The reverse of this wondrous process is called hypnopompic state, the moments we experience as we are in waking from sleep. These states are the thresholds of our consciousness. Lucidity. lucid dreaming, hallucinating and a state of physical paralysis all can be experienced in this conducive and suggestive state. The sound state. Hallucinations of the auditory kind or experiences that have a blend of sound or ones that are dominated by sound. A thud, a scream, white noise, a jet engine, a crash, jolting us to and fro, even hearing our own names being shouted out unexpectedly. Hypnagogic speech. The inner voice, snippets of sentences, comments or statements startlingly thrown about as we drift off. Poetry, song lyrics, film dialogue are all also possible ingredients of this wondrous of being. Along with all these experiences and effects, the most common we all have had from time to time are the falling and the hypnic jerk. Our unconscious mind and soul we explore. The aspects of ourselves we come in contact with, and the power of our exploration of self is hypnagogia. Possibly our higher calling, our ultimate potential, our soul wisdom, or merely an evolutionary hangover we all contend with. Hypnagogia is the rabbit hole concept that needs exploring. The potential of discovering further wholeness and reason for existence could be in the passageway of our slumber. Deep down in the subconscious mechanism we may access the forgotten, the ancestral wisdoms, the enlightenments, the genius, just waiting for us to come looking. In the trance we observe immortality and the afterlife. The materialist, dualist, immortalist and the criterion. Eternal life is immortality, whether here on earth or on another plane. Immortality is essentially escaping death, unending existence, exemption from dying. For after death, if we live on, then we still haven't escaped death, but lived on in another form. A metamorphosis of being. Does this still constitute immortality? Continuing indefinitely throughout existence with no stoppage of life or consciousness, this is really immortality in its truest form. If the body dies and the soul lives on, or if the body dies and somehow the body lives on, then is this immortality? Even though there was death in the equation? Bandwidth of the spiritual, my spiritual force. Healing to empowerment. Philosophy and the physics of our physical selves take us on our glimpse into psychic healing and the understanding of our physical state, spiritual potential and enlightenment. The spiritual bandwidth. Emotional pain that manifests into physical pain and anxiety can surely show itself in many, and nowadays spiritual healing just may be more accepted as a legitimate source of healing. Spiritual healing is the method of coming back to our full potential of unlimited energy, health and awareness by using the spiritual tools and powers that are in and around us. All energy is in a way also a form of spiritual bandwidth, whether primarily or secondarily. Broadly speaking, as one recovers from ailment, one is essentially recovering spiritually through psychic energy, whether they are aware of this or not. Even while conventional medicines are at work, spiritual healing or refocusing activities are at play inside the scheme of the spiritual greater powers. However, these natural psychic healing abilities sometimes need encouragement, or reminders. Spiritual connectedness. These encouragements or reminders come in many forms. The true wonders of modern science and the medicine should never be forsaken, as the best true medicines and best true psychic healing methods can and should always be encouraged, together, for total openness to these wondrous healing frequencies as one builds on the other. Whether one method or the other is administered first is inconsequential. We must never discount the level of healing qualities in either or both. For we are of this earth, and this earth is the provider of the multitude of minerals, elements and spiritual connectedness we can all benefit from with complete openness. Spiritual healing can work purely on its own, with or for others, or in harmony with conventional medicine. Spiritual energies act within natural boundaries, These boundaries can all be better understood with learning and patience. Spiritual energy has no bias as to religion, types of religion, or no religion at all. There is a spiritual power that is the center of all things. This power governs all that is seen, unseen, material or immaterial. Every soul, spirit, environment, collective belief system is unique, and this uniqueness requires understanding and appreciation for the true heights of spiritual healing and enlightenment to occur. Our fields of force. Environment of the open-minded raises the chances of success exponentially, whereas any negative thoughts or fears only hinder the process. We are surrounded by what is believed to be force. This force has no boundaries and freely moves through us. Gravity, electricity, television, radio, even Wi-Fi flows around and through us. Some are natural phenomenon and some are man-made tools of modernity. And nevertheless they all operate and exist. This knowledge alone should open up possibilities of belief and knowledge one step further in all of us in the scope of many more invisible fields of force. These are the fields being of the psychic, spiritual kind. Forces that we are, and may well be forever unaware of the true potential applications, constantly in direct contact with, aware or unaware. This force is limitless, does not play favorites and does not want anything in return. For one reason or another, connectedness from our true selves and from this force can easily be detached, manifesting in ailments of warning. These ailments of warning, when not attended to and or being amongst the many unnatural pollutants that permeate our lives, surely can at times lead to unease of the body. Our spiritual force needs attuning to, perhaps more importantly now than ever before.